So we're continuing to, we love the expression noodling around, because it takes away some of the real serious business about meditation, we're noodling around, it brings more forward that childlike curiosity. How do things work? How do things fit together? Curiosity and so forth, yeah. So we use it in a lot of regards in the practice, partly to lighten up, just to lighten up. It's part of lightening up for us. The more we think of, as we think about enlightenment these days, it's more about lightening up. Yeah, lightening up. Yeah, lightening up our grip, lightening up our intensity, lightening up our seriousness, taking ourselves so serious, taking things so seriously. Yeah, yeah. So we noodle around with impermanence. We noodle around with anicca. Yeah, that's what we're doing this week and probably next week as well. Yeah. Oh, we'd rather not focus on impermanence. Whether we focus on it or not, this is the thing about these three characteristics from the Buddhist point of view, from Buddhist psychology. Whether you think about it or not, it's still happening. Things are still changing. I'm still getting older. I'm still not going to be here forever. Whether I think about it or not. Yeah. Why look into it? Why look more closely into it? What's the point? What's the point? The Buddha says in the Dhammapada is one of the famous Buddhist texts. He says, better to live one day seeing the rise and fall of things than to live 100 years not seeing deeply into the rise and fall of things. Why is that? Why is that? Why does he see that it's such a pivotal investigation in Buddhism? Yes, dukkha and anatta as well. The truth of suffering and dissatisfaction, and the understanding a deeper understanding about the self are important. But it starts with impermanence, seeing that first. That's the linchpin. And we don't want to look at it. We're not wired to look at it. Yeah, because at first it just pulls forward a certain kind of darkness, a certain kind of nihilism, a certain kind of what's the point, a certain kind of discouragement. Well, if everything is a sandcastle, why should I build anything at all? Yeah. Well, the Buddha says, no, that's just, we're not talking about nihilism there. We're talking about lightening up. We're talking about making a more authentic relationship, about a deeper understanding, so that we can begin to loosen our grip, so that we can begin also, most importantly, to kiss the joy as it flies, to move into our lives with more of the time, a sense of appreciation of the preciousness of the fleeting nature of everything, rather than the sadness of, that's there too. There's something tremulous about that. There's something so tender about that it's all slipping through. Yeah. It's all sliding away, that I can't really hold on to anything. I don't want to look into that, but when I do, there's also a tenderness there, yeah, and a spaciousness. And this is something that Susan and I have noticed. There's so much more gratitude, really getting in touch with the reality that we're not going to be here forever. Not just cognitively, but we know it more deeply, and we reflect on it every single day now. We didn't used to do that. Yeah, it's like, oh my goodness, we're not going to be here forever. It gets transmuted right away into, okay, well, how are we going to love today then? What's important today then? We're still here. We're still here now. Not to mention all the other blessings that come along with our particular context and all of that. And so I love the title of Mark Epstein's book. You know, you look into some of this more closely. The title of the book is "Going to Pieces Without Falling Apart." You know, it isn't that things fall apart either. When we start to look at impermanence, when we start to see the component parts, and we go, "Whoa, it's all slip sliding away in there." Things don't fall apart. You know. What we can do is begin to relax a little bit more around our orientation. This is how anicca, or impermanence, is connected with dukkha most directly. Okay, now I see everything is impermanent. Now, okay, if everything is really impermanent and I look closely, I see, then how come so much of my orientation is trying to replace certain impermanent moments of experience with other impermanent moments of experience, thinking that's how I will get happy. That's how I'll really become more deeply contented. It's all impermanent. Do you know? It's all impermanent. So, yeah, we still want to orient. We still want to make choices. We still want to celebrate this amazing life. But in a slightly more spacious manner, and with the awareness that no matter what I do, I'm here for a short time. And it's really simple like that. It's really simple like that. It's not just the cognitive awareness of that. It's how does that translate in a more embodied way, in a more heartfelt way? How does that translate into, well, maybe not just taking things for granted. You know what we say to our friends now when we see them? I never used to say this to my friends. How wonderful that we're all still here and healthy. It won't always be so. Not just, see ya, maybe. I've already said that to a couple people who died before the next time I saw them. You know, including my father. Yeah. Let's not take for granted our connections with people. Oh, I'll get to it. Yeah? So it kind of rolls forward here. You know, what's the priority? What? Yeah, we all have our 5-year plans. We do too. We hold them more lightly than we used to, that's all. Yeah. And that tendency to freeze frame our experience, freeze frame it. As opposed to, look, it's all moving through, you know? We can relax more. Can we? Can we relax more into this, all of what this being human is, all of what's passing through the mind and the heart and the body? Can we make room for more of it? Yeah? Can we grip a little less? Why? Because it hurts. If we start to pay attention to it, gripping doesn't help. It certainly doesn't stop the hands of time. And it doesn't help get things done either. And it doesn't help me love better either. Gripping. Squeezing. Yeah. So it's all like that, you know. We always are moving into, well, how is this relevant? How is it not just an idea? Why? It's not just an idea. No, these are three pretty big ones that are very fundamental. And but again, we have to understand and appreciate we're not wired to do this. We're wired to feel as if things are permanent. solid, predictable. We're wired that way. Evolutionarily, we're wired that way. So, okay, this is a different move. This is a different move. Let's take a closer look at our wiring and what part of that we want to keep around. What part of our patterns still makes sense? Which ones don't? Which ones are causing me distress? This is how we move together.